So you want to go to Disney World for Halloween, but you don't want to spend Halloween party prices. Got you. What's going on, everybody? I'm David, and this is our family small shop, Mickey and Mandy. We're Disney adults that create custom bags, screen printed shirts, and handmade home decor inspired by everybody's favorite magical theme parks. And for this week's video, I'm going to be diving into the spookiest spots at the Walt Disney World Resort without having to drop an arm and a leg, so that way you get to go to a Halloween party. And I know, we're kind of coming up in the middle of October, so a lot of you have probably already gone to a Halloween party, so my sincerest apologies for kind of getting a little bit late to the party, if you will. But save this, keep it in your pocket for next year. Or if you're somebody that you didn't get a chance to make it to a Halloween party yet because you weren't able to get tickets, they were all sold out, this is still for you. At the time of recording, we still got like 2/3 of October left. So these for me are the spookiest spots at the Walt Disney World Resort without having to go to a Halloween party to get there. This is where you can get your thrills, you can get your scares, you can get your spooks and specters, or just that sort of uneasy feeling without having to go to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, or without having to go to Oogie Boogie Bash if you're more of a Disneyland person. For this video, we are sticking strictly at the Walt Disney World Resort in Florida. So let's pull on that yellow strap and get going. So for my number 5 spot for the spookiest spots at the Walt Disney World Resort, this is going to seem a little odd, but I'm going to give it to Pirates of the Caribbean at night. This Spanish style fort might not look like a whole lot of a scare factor during the day, but as you are approaching it at night and you hear the music as you're walking through the queue and the abandoned prison cells, and especially when you first get in your boat and you're going through these caves and these caverns and everything's dark and you hear the dead men tell no tales. It's very foreboding. And then you see the skeletons of pirates from the past. You see that shipwreck with a guy that's still steering the ship. I guess trying to. I mean, A for effort, guy. And then you've got the one skull and crossbones, the Jolly Roger up in the corner right as they're taking the picture, telling you that it's too late to alter course now. It just delivers this certain feeling of uncertainty that a lot of people kind of associate with that spooky, ghosty factor. Now, everything immediately becomes fun once you plunge down that one drop, and then you're in the middle of a port battle, and you see Barbossa, and you see Jack, and everything's fine, but it's that first little chunk, and everything is kind of turned up to 11 when you do this attraction at night, because you're approaching it in the dark, you're staying in a low-lit area, you're just going from one low-lit area into the next, and it just creates a whole vibe. Number 4. For number 4, we're going to actually be sticking in Magic Kingdom, in Adventureland specifically, by just in general saying that Adventureland at night is kind of a spooky vibe, whether they wanted to or not. Maybe it's more of a mysterious in terms of like adventure, but the whole story with Adventureland is that it's supposed to inspire you to go down a path that has not been trod before. You kind of make your own adventure, you make the choices, and again, during the day, it seems very easy. But at night, there's the torches and the lamps and everything's just a little bit on the darker side. So yeah, the story still stands. You're in control of your own adventure, but it's that uncertainty. You don't really know what path to go down. Should I go towards the pirates? Should I go on a jungle cruise? Or am I just miscellaneously walking down a dark path that's going to lead me to a cast members only door? Who knows? I don't know, maybe it's just me, but for personally, Adventureland at night does kind of give off that sort of spooky uncertainty vibe. For our number 3 spot, we are going to do a hop, skip, and a jump from some ferries to some buses over to Disney's Hollywood Studios for the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. There's really only one other attraction at the Walt Disney World Resort that can get much spookier than this, but more on that attraction later. I mean, for crying out loud though, Tower of Terror, you don't get much spookier than this because an entire wing of a hotel and 5 people just vanished one night. And on Halloween to boot. But this one is in the number 3 spot because it does an amazing job of storytelling. I have talked about Tower of Terror in other videos. Make sure you go check out the must-do Disney's Hollywood Studios video where I do dig into that a little bit more. I also talk about my love for Tower of Terror in some of our home decor videos. But the storytelling of Tower of Terror builds up why it is so spooky. The attraction looms over Disney's Hollywood Studios. It is immediately to your right-hand side as you are scanning your Magic Band. As you're walking down Sunset Boulevard, you can hear people screaming, allegedly. And just as you get closer, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and the presence just becomes so much grander, and you start to see some of the details, the scarring on the side, the broken bits of the hotel off of the front. The garden hasn't been taken care of. The plants are overgrown. The fountain isn't running. You walk into the lobby and there's cobwebs. Somebody left their cane. They abandoned a game of, I think it was Mahjong. Mail is left on the counter. Luggage has been left behind. So it honestly just feels like the world just paused in that exact moment when all 5 of those people disappeared in that elevator. And it doesn't get much better from when you get into the library and the TV comes possessed. And Rod Serling kind of gives you the lowdown. And then you're going into a boiler room. They just keep upping the ante of it going from like, like maybe there's something not quite right here, to, oh, so something actually did happen here, to, oh my God, this is going to happen to me now. I really wanted to put this in the number 1 spot because of my deep love for the Tower of Terror, but I think we all know what the number 1 spot's going to be, and we'll talk about it. For my number 2 spot. Number 2 spot's gonna seem a little odd, but I need you to stay with me in my thought process when I was making this list. For the number 2 spot, it's gonna be another land at night. We're gonna actually hop back over to Magic Kingdom for this one, but again, stay with me. It's that little chunk of Frontierland and Liberty Square right before you get to the Haunted Mansion, where you can't quite see the mansion, but what you hear is the howling dog from the outside. I don't know why, I can't explain it, but that has always been super unnerving to me. Even as a kid, I hated being on Tom Sawyer's Island. I'm like getting like a chill down my spine talking about it. But even as a kid, being on Tom Sawyer's Island, like there was one time I got really turned around and I panicked, and all I saw out in the distance was the Haunted Mansion, and I heard the howling dog. I'm like, this is it. Like this is where I go out. This is it. I don't know who they are, but they're gonna get me. And it's kind of like Tower of Terror. It kind of sets up that scene. Like you can't even really see the mansion from super far out if you're at ground level in Frontierland and a little bit in Liberty Square. But you hear the dog and you're like, where is that coming from? And then to add that at night, when everything's dark, and just like with Adventureland, everything in Liberty Square and Frontierland, it's very low lit by lamps and things like that, because that's what the source of lighting was at night at the time of where these lands take place. It's dark, it's low lit, you hear the howling dog, and it's just like you kind of hear the wind blowing around the mansion, and just the audio and just all the sensory details before you even see the mansion it's so unsettling. And before I get to our number 1 spot, everybody, if you wouldn't mind, make sure that you hit that subscribe button so that way you don't miss out on any future product deep dive videos from our family, small shop mickeyandmandy.com, and you don't miss out on any future Disney Parks content. And if you're not already, be sure that you follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. This is where we post all of our new product drops. This is where we post some of our short form content, and this is also where we post about our weekly ready to ship drops. We are coming up to the end of the spooky season. We have already done our last call for custom items to get in time for Halloween. But we still do weekly ready to ship drops that ship within 3 to 4 business days, so you should be able to get those very quickly. And as we're coming up on the holiday season, in November, this is going to be an excellent time for you to watch those ready to ship drops. That way you can get some of your winter and Christmassy ready to ship stuff for your next trip to the Disney parks. All right, now on with the show. For the number 1 spot, I think we all knew what was coming when we saw the beginning of this video, but the number 1 spot, it has to go to the Haunted Mansion. Right. Now, longtime followers of us over on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads know that I am not the biggest fan of the Haunted Mansion, but that is a separate video. Although I am not the Haunted Mansion's number 1 fan, I will concede the fact that it is an incredibly, wonderfully spooky experience. I mean, 999 happy haunts. Odds are there's going to be something in there that is just unsettling and foreboding and spooky and just And this is another one kind of like Tower of Terror. It all comes down to the storytelling and the buildup of the attraction. I talked about it a little bit in my number 2. You hear the wind rustling around the mansion, you hear the dog howling from the outside as you're making your way through the queue, through the graveyard, into the foyer, the stretching room. Probably the scariest thing of all is being funneled out of the stretching room into a single file line so you can board your doom buggy. I gotta bring it in because that's me about to go off on a Haunted Mansion rant, and again, that's another video. And then seeing just kind of all of the mysterious things happening without actually seeing a ghost. The doors knocking and breathing, of all things. Endless hallway, the crow. Then all the ghosts start to materialize. And then that's kind of where it's kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean, where we go from a scary beginning to a fun end of the attraction. But not without its occasional spook. Those friggin' jerks that jump up from behind the tombstones. You know what I'm talking about. Very simple effects, a long-standing Disney attraction, a classic Disney attraction with a rich history. Although it's not my favorite attraction, it is going to be the spookiest spot at the Walt Disney World Resort. Also, mad shout out to the Hatbox Ghost. He is my favorite happy haunt on the Haunted Mansion. And those are the 5 spookiest spots at the Walt Disney World Resort without having to drop all that money on a Halloween party. Again, I know I'm a little late to the party, but this video is for those of you that maybe you weren't able to quite get a ticket for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, or maybe you just didn't want to spend the money on the Halloween party, but you still wanted to get those Halloween thrills in before all the Christmas trees go up. Again, if you haven't already, be sure you subscribe over here to our YouTube. Go check us out over on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. And be sure you also check out our family small shop. That's mickeyandmandy.com. My mom makes handmade custom bags. My sister and I get to design screen printed shirts. And me and my dad get to make some of the home decor that you see behind me. We love to create, and Disney is something that we love, so we kind of mushed those two passions together. But no matter what, everybody, we thank you so much for watching. We hope you have a happy Halloween, and we'll see you real soon.